Bobsy.
Whoa, welcome to another episode of My Brother Show. I am your host, Maurice Fresh. Little quick housekeeping. You go ahead and go right down to that name, scrolling on the ticker, give me a follow. You go right over to that name, give me a follow on Instagram. Every like, every follower helps. I am your host. My name is Maurice Fresh. Really excited about this season, this series, how he became him, where I'm talking to your everyday men, the men you see in the grocery store, the men you see in the supermarket, the men you see driving down the street. And I'm venturing into seeing how they became who they are. So we're going to explore some of that hurt. We're going to explore healing practices. And then we're just going to talk about the male community as a whole and some things that we can do to improve. So I get to my favorite part of the show where I get to introduce my guest. This is my brother. We're going on like a decade, man. Like, he's been an amazing mentor to me. He's helped me cultivate the person I am, the host that you guys see. He was very instrumental in doing that. You know, I remember the first time we went out together, we saw Dr. Cornel West talk. And I just remember seeing his boldness and being willing to literally raise his hand and put his DVD, I believe, in Dr. Cornell's hands. And like, you see that kind of like boldness, that kind of drive. It's something that you want to imitate. He's a huge advocate for the Black community, always looking for ways to improve the Black community, always doing the good work, always willing to fight the good fight. And it's a pleasure to know him. We also shared a bond with a special needs family member that's close to our heart. So without further ado, I get to introduce the one, the only Professor Carl Tone Jones, CTJ.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, that's good. We had some tech difficulties early, but I can edit that out and start from here again.
Yeah. I don't, sometimes with these streaming apps, man, they just go through it. So, but we're here, man. And I want to thank you. I'm truly humbled by the introduction. You've had an impact on my life as well. Just seeing the type of man you are, the father you are, how much care you take to the community. We met prior to that Cornell West event at LaSalle University.
Mm-hmm.
We had been dealing with each other through our Facebook group, the Land, which is just full of good, solid brothers.
Yeah.
So, I'm just glad that I've had, those opportunities to build with you brothers, to do the book bag drive, coding. Like, we've been in the trenches out there in the streets, man. And
Yeah. Yeah, we done some, man. Talking about clothing giveaways in Chester, man. We did that march against the violence, man. We've been out there on the front line together.
Yeah, man. And that's, that just speaks to the character of you, for one, and most of all, man, I just saw how beautiful of a father you are, and then to get the chance to meet your son, and beautiful young man, and but to see, how caring you are with that, and then, I have a special needs brother that I care for, so stuff like that, with matters of the heart, men, in our community understand that being a man in your family matters. Those things sort of separate the wheat from the chaff. And so, brother, much as you may admire me, I admire you mutually, maybe even more, just because, you do it every day, you do it without fanfare, you do it just because it needs to be done. And I think that's a beautiful thing, brother.
Oh man, I love this. This is great, man. That's probably gonna be my next series. I thank you for this conversation we had. I think after I'm done with how he become him, I'm just gonna bring people on and shower them with praise, man, and like that'll just be the episode. I'm just bring people on to half an hour singing their praises because we need more of it, right? You know, and it's so much negativity, it's so much crap. You can open up your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Snapchat, your YouTube, and find black negativity a million things at a time, but you don't see enough of this, right? So this is beautiful to me, man. And as long as God gives me the means to do it, I will continue to do this until death do me part. So thank you for those kind words as well.
Yeah, but listen, doing God's work, and it's important. You know, before we get started, that we speak it like that, because too many people think that darkness gives them power, wicked energy gives them power. You know, they, you know, I was nice before, but now they got me on demon time. Listen, man, there's no power, no power higher than the highest power.
Right.
And to feel powerful because you're about to do something wicked, if you don't feel empowered because you're doing God's work, then I don't know what else, you know, to say to anybody, because what you're truly talking about is the power to destroy people, and that or be destructive or be disruptive. And you know, we don't need any of that. We got enough of that in the world. We need more people who bring light to the situation, light to our people, and bring some light into their lives. So appreciate that. Appreciate the flowers, brother. Humbly received.
I appreciate it, man. This is going to be a good one, man. So let's jump into it, man. First question: who is Professor Carl Tone Jones?
Hey, man, I am just your brother. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to talk accolades, you know, I'm the proud producer of the Independence Day Project film, which speaks to the solutions that are needed if we're going to talk about establishing the Black community as a nation within a nation. Black people, you know, doing for self, as the Nation of Islam would always say. If we were talking about that prospect, then you need to see the Independence Day Project, because the work we put into that documentary is all solutions based. We don't talk about how wicked the white man is. I mean, we identify it, but the majority of that film is talking about Black empowerment. So, you know, and it's talking about how we can do it from the grassroots up with a clear and concise vision on building that community. So I'm for anybody to see that. You know, I'm an author. I'm actually in the process of writing my second book, but I produced the book 2023, The Eyes of the Social Media Revolutionary, back in 2021, and it basically was a collection of my social media posts and things, my reactions on social media, and I compiled that into a coffee table book. So, I mean, technically you could read the book probably in less than an hour, but then you might get stuck on the page for a day or two because of the type of thought processes that might occur based on some of the things you read. Work in the community, listen, you know, I've been with a lot of the so-called nationalist and Pan-African outfits, but my real work is just really reaching out and being a source of a good source and a resource for these young people out here. You know, young children, young boys in particular, because I feel like society's cast them aside. We don't deal with them until they become a problem. But in the problematic staging, you know, where we can interrupt that, you know, a lot of us pass them by. So I pour a lot of energy into them. I currently work at Community College of Philadelphia, Center for Male Engagement. I'm actually rocking our sweatshirt right now. And it was a program that was put in place to help young brothers, you know, get actuated in the college, that we become a resource to these young brothers. And we help them, we sort of help bridge the gap, because young brothers start off at such a deficit when they get into college, and there's not a lot of resources on the college campus. Most college campuses are geared towards, you know, other communities. They're geared towards women, but brothers are pretty much just, they land on campus and it's assumed. that they know what they're doing, even though a lot of them are first time college students. So what we do is we step in, we become the friendly hand. We walk them to specific offices, we teach them the basics, the fundamentals about college, and then we're the support throughout. So that's what I'm currently doing right now, brother.
That's love. That's love. And another thing that it's funny when we were texting about the episode, I'm scrolling up. So I don't delete text messages, so I'm scrolling up and reading our thread. And so he lives across the street. Well, he used to live across the street from my sister. My sister moved now, and he literally texted me one day and said, like, "Hey, brother, your sister left her window rolled down. Tell her to come out here and get it." Like, that is dope. Like, it's such a small gesture, but like that speaks to the character, that he is. That he was able to say, like, "Yo, like." Oh, my hood fell off. I'm having a bad hair day. But he texted me and said, "Hey, brother, your sister left her window down. Tell her to come out there and do it." So that's the guy that he is. I've seen him pulling kids off the corner. Telling trap boys of not in this neighborhood. Like, man, you need people like that, man. So thank you for your work, man. It's an uphill battle, and it's something that might not necessarily instantly pay dividends. But again, man, your commitment to that, you're going to make a huge change in the world, man. And I'm so happy that I could just see it. I'm so happy that I could play a small little part in it. And I'm just, in constant awe of your growth and the work that you do.
First of all, man, you're not little in any regards in that impact, So I just want to say that to you. Listen, man, it's funny because I got a brother from New York, right? Two brothers came to Philly, and he actually did a lecture back in November. And he came by, he said, "Man, no wonder you be, you just come wherever you come by yourself, and you live in a real city, son." And I'm like, I go to their neighborhood, and I just pull up.
Mm-hmm.
We in Brooklyn, down in Brownsville, and out on the block. I'm pulling up. We walking around. We go to the Caribbean spot, grab something to eat. We're in that building. Go to Harlem, Baltimore, wherever the people need me at that particular time, I just show up. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with this. It comes with some consequences, though. But for the most part, man, the people, like the community, I've never had a problem with approaching these young brothers because I don't do it from like I'm your missing dad and I'm going to whip you in shape. I appeal to their better nature. Hey, young brother, we got some ladies out here. Y'all might want to. Y'all scaring them with your language. Oh, my bad, old head. My bad, young brother. Put your pants up, man. So you're better than this. And appealing to their better nature has always been a route to success. And then when you see them grow up, they have different outcomes than children that you didn't have any connection with. And I think that, I'm glad for the ones that have different outcomes, but it saddens me that we can't get to the ones who fall off to the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough and it's an uphill struggle. But my question for you, I guess, is how do you come from? You from Philly, right? Originally. So from an inner city Philly kid, because so many people been from the same city as us, but they're not willing to do this work. So how do you get to the point that you are today based off of your beginnings? Like, kind of take me through that journey of how you got to where you are.
I guess I inherited the heart of my mother. And my mother, we were talking prior to the show about bleeding heart. My mother was the kindest and most generous woman you ever want to meet. So much that she would volunteer my services out prior to me having any knowledge to it. So any neighborhood, anybody on my block that didn't have a man doing things, oh, Tony will come down there and do it. What is Tony about to do, Mom? So I've always had a compassion, especially for children. Even when I was a senior at Simon Gratz High School, that's right. I went to Gillespie Junior High. I was part of the last graduating class of Gillespie Junior High. I went to Simon Gratz High School. Graduated from Simon Gratz High School right here in North Philly. that house that you see me at, that's the house I grew up in. I came back home after my mother's passing in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in terms of, it's just that I just can't see people suffering and knowing that I can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a struggle for me because you get played a lot. But it's hard for me to see somebody struggling, knowing that I can make a change in that person's life. One day I was at a Wawa, and it was like 13 degrees outside, and I pulled up, and it was this guy outside. He was a white guy. He was outside, but you could tell he was like off,
Mm-hmm.
and he was out there with just a T-shirt on and a pair of jeans, and he was shivering.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a flannel that was just in my trunk. I had a blanket that was in my trunk. I just wrapped old boy up in it. I didn't even think about it until I got inside and the cashier's there bawling. I guess she's not used to seeing people do that. But that's just me. I pulled up on homeless people. Like, I go walking at the track. And just a few years ago, there was a brother outside. And I go at night. But I shouldn't even say that shit. I go at night. My bad. I didn't mean to cut.
You good, bro.
I don't want nobody getting the drop on me. So it was at night though, right? And I'm walking around the track, and I'm seeing this flicker, like a light. It's totally dark outside, but it's flicker. I get closer. There's a homeless brother out there sleeping on the bench with a candle on for heat. Mm. This dude is missing a whole shoe and a sock. Mm. I ran home, came back, gave him whatever was in my pocket, and gave him another blanket or two. That's just, if you can help somebody. My conscience won't let me sleep at night if I'm sleeping in a warm bed and I just walk past somebody who clearly is in need. I ain't talking about you cats out here hustling, but I'm talking about somebody that's clearly in need, that a warm cup of soup might be the difference between life and death. Mm. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do during the pandemic when people were scared to come outside. I was driving around, shout out to my brother at West Philly Produce, Arnett Woodall. Arnett would fill my trunk up with food, and I would be delivering the food to people who were afraid to come outside. North Philly Peace Park had boxes of food. We was trying to get people to come out to there. But for people who were scared to come outside, I'm at your door. My aunt was on the other side of a screen. I'll never forget this. I had to drop food off on her step. She was so terrified by the pandemic. She was on the other side of the window, crying her eyes out. And I felt so bad because I know she wanted to give me a hug, but she was just terrified at the beginning because of the scare that was perpetuated out there. So, I just have always been that person that I'll give you. I'll even give you when I can't afford to give it. And that's something, that habit I've been trying to break. But because I don't believe we're here just to exist. I think we're here to make an impact on somebody's life or anybody's life. But we're here to serve a purpose, and the purpose is greater than me. You know what I'm saying? Purpose is greater than us. Purpose is to make humanity a better place. So if you are not doing what you can, and I'm not telling people to exhaust their resources or do things that, takes away from what they can give to their family. I'm not telling you to take food out of the mouths of your children or from the shelter of your home. But if you have it, a trip to Dubai don't mean as much as helping somebody right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And no shade, but that's just how I am.
Yeah, and it's funny because, well, not funny, but one of the drives we did, if you remember, we called it the cabinet and closet drive. And the rationale behind it was, we don't want you to go out and buy no clothes. We don't want you to go out and buy no food. Open up your closet. That stuff you're not wearing no more, come donate it to us. Those canned foods that's sitting in the back that you know you're not going to cook, come donate it. And if we're out in Chester, man, it was in that thing, lines of people just coming in, just going shopping. And nobody had to spend a dime on none of that stuff. And it's so rewarding to watch somebody grab your old pair of shoes, try to see if they could fit them, and then walk out with it. Old head, little old head grabbed one of my old pair of dress shoes, and I'm watching them walk out. I'm like, dang, yo, I ain't wear them things in like 2 years. But to see him with the joy to get it, man, it does something to warm your heart out. And to give to somebody, having it or not having it does something to warm your heart out. Part of the reason that I work in the social services field is because I wanted to do something that felt rewarding. Like I've done for profit. I don't like just quota based, just hit this number, make me money, make me money. Like one of my favorite things when I used to work for the Department of Welfare was when somebody would come in front of me, they would just break down crying, bro. Because we got so many stigmas about people that are welfare recipients, and we all think they're lazy and they don't want better. A lot of those people, 80% of them work. They just need something extra on top of it. So you'll have woman working somewhere for 20 years. She just got laid off. She comes sit in front of me, break down crying. 50-year-old woman. I said, what's wrong? She said, I'm so embarrassed to be here. You know, get going to say, I'm so embarrassed to be here. I was working for 20 years. I'm not lazy. I'm not this. I said, man, I'm a bad day away from being right there with you. And she looked at me. Said, I'm one bad moment, one bad client, one bad day away from losing my job here. Then I'm right on the other side of that test too. Like, you're not alone. We all have bad stretches. But like, here, look, you know, I'm here to get you through this. Here, take this tissue. Well, walked from my desk, came around, outside to the lobby, gave the lady a hug. People appreciate that stuff. You know what I mean? And it costs nothing to be kind to somebody. It literally costs nothing to be kind to somebody. And one of my favorite things about him is everything he just said, he doesn't record. One of the favorite things about you, Carl, you know what I mean? Like, I know we see those heartwarming stories where somebody doing something on YouTube, but like, come on, man, think about it. Do you really want a camera in your face when somebody giving you $10? When somebody dropping? Like, I mean, like, you know, so I love that about you too. Like, people who are doing it again just on the strength of this is the right thing to do. I don't want no recognition. You don't got to shout me out on social media. My mentor outside of work literally will do something for me and say, I'm only doing this on a stipulation that you don't tell anybody. I say, well, why? He said, no, I don't want that recognition. Like, I don't want nobody to know, just know it's done. If you got to give somebody credit, give it to blah, blah, blah. Say somebody sponsored you, you know. And like those people, man, those are the people that the world needs more of. And I'm not saying that people who don't do it are cruel or are evil. Sometimes we just get so busy in day-to-day living that we forget about some of the other people who are less fortunate than us, by their own choices or by things that are outside of their circumstances. So I love what you're doing, brother. Keep it up.
I appreciate that. And there was a time I did record it, so I don't want to come off as people will go back and say, "Wait a minute, man, I got this video." But I never recorded it from the perspective of, you know, trying to become a star or trying to become. I typically recorded it from the perspective of, if I can do it, you can do it too. Let me show you how easy it is.
Right.
Let me showcase these good children who've received such bad publicity. Let me show you, watch them cleaning up this North Philly block, and see the pride that they take in doing these things. Let's change the status quo, or let's change the perspective on who these children are, and let's look at them as babies until they're old enough to determine their future, rather than label them as criminals and then create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, you know, I mean, we recorded the event in Chester, you know, and me and Ish walking through Chester, downtown Chester, to the bus stations and come to the drive. But I get what you're saying, because this is not from that perspective. You know, I saw, and this incident that I'm talking about is marked, is imprinted on me. So I'm in the supermarket parking lot, and I'm about to go into the store, and there was a young brother, you know, could have been, he was probably about 13, 14 years old, and he asked this couple, "Can I help you with your bags when you come back out the store?" And the response he got, the man didn't say nothing. But the sister's response was so cold to this young brother that I literally watched I watched his heart go cold in that very instant, because it was like he was so respectful and courteous, and he showed so much humility. And she shot him down with such harshness, you would have thought he was asking about her drink. And so I had to pull him to the side and say, young brother, we're all not like that. I don't have it today, but I promise you, if I see you tomorrow, I'm going to take care of you. The next day, he was out there, 2 of his homies, and I gave them, like, I don't know how much money I gave, but I know it was more than $5, $10. But more than the money, which I didn't have. But I said the cost of saving his soul,
right,
is worth more. Price of saving his soul is worth more than whatever I would spend this money on. I probably won't even remember what BS I'm going to spend this money on, because it was pocket change to me at that time. But I couldn't afford it though. I'm just being, but it was pocket. But to see him change, and then for months on end, I'm at the store and I get a tug on my jersey, or tug on my shirt, or tug on my jacket, or tug on my hoodie, and it's the young brother just want me to acknowledge, hey, what's going on, big bro? And we bonded on it. But I think the impact from that was these young cats, they go from, may I, pump your gas, or may I help you with your bags to your car, to give me what's in your pocket, give me what's in your purse real quick. And I tried to warn so many people about that. So I tried to warn, I said, y'all gonna make it where they're supposed to come to us. We're their elders, we're the caretakers of the community, we're the guardians of the community. They're supposed to come to us. If you see a child at the gas station, he's not just out there because he's a hoodlum. That child is at the gas station because he's hungry. It's 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Listen, my cousin, they had the juvenile lifers being resentenced over the last few years. And a lot of cats that committed murders or strong felonies, who got life sentences as a juvenile, a lot of their cases came up. My cousin was murdered by one of these guys. So I'm not going to say the guy's name. The guy's from my neighborhood. But our family spoke up on behalf of, my cousin, because that was our loved one. Took our loved one from us. But during the hearing, I paid attention to the conditions this guy grew up in. As a young man, 19 years old, him and his brothers were dumpster diving for food because both of his parents were crackheads. These brothers was at the gas station pumping gas. They might have pumped my gas for all I know. And all I know is, man, if somebody could have impacted their life, my cousin might still be. You know what I'm saying? So I take stories like that and I learn from those lessons. Like what makes the Frankenstein monster is Dr. Frankenstein. We all play a part in building the Frankenstein monsters that we call these criminals and thugs, but we don't want to take accountability for the ingredients we poured into this so-called monster. But now they're thugs, they're out of control. What Hillary Clinton used to call us, predators, super predators.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were all those different things, bro. So, I think about those times, and I try to, even cats nowadays that I see are down in their luck, and they need part-time job or they need side hustles or whatever. Bro, can I clean your yard? Man, I'm a grown man. I can clean my own damn yard, but you know what? If I don't give you this $20 to clean my yard, you're gonna knock somebody over the head to get that. Right. So let me spare somebody by taking this change I got, and I'm gonna give that to you. I'm not sponsoring your drug dealer, but I am trying to save somebody from coming to harm, because what that drug dealer got, you want to get regardless. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get it from me, you're gonna find a victim. You're gonna become a predator to that person. So I try to, best I can.
No, and that's real, and I love it, because I think that, like, from my perspective, not only is this concept of, hey, people need this, but I also remember being that young kid, right? Like, I remember standing at the gas station and pumping gas. I remember digging through the dirt outside looking for quarters so I could go play the little arcade games at the laundromat. Yeah, I mean, I remember walking over crack vials to get to the park. I remember going to bed to gunshots and things like that. I told this story a couple episodes ago, but I'll tell it again. A guy that I went to middle school with. I remember I'm in my freshman year at Temple, and I walked past him. Real cool brother. Was never really a bad kid when we was in middle school together. And I'm chatting with him. He's like, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm coming back from class." He said, "Yo, Reese, I'm glad you made it, man." So I looked at him, and in my mind, I said, "You know what? You should tell him, yo, you can do this too. Like, it's no difference between me and you. We from the same hood. We went to the same middle school." But I didn't say nothing. He got killed like the next month. That bothers me. Like I can remember I was sitting in the barber shop one day. Young boy was in there whooping, like woofing, like worse than my current job right now, like whooping, like. And his homie was getting the cut. So I'm looking at him. I said, "Young boy, you getting the cut too?" He said, "No, I ain't got the money for it. I had the money to do it, and I didn't do it." That grinds me up to this day that I didn't bless that young brother like that. It grinds me up that my homie from middle school isn't here anymore, and I missed those opportunities. So part of what drives me today is what you're saying. You missed that opportunity. It might be your last chance. It might be your last opportunity. Like the youngin with the whooping, like who's to say like he could have got a cut that day and then saved on some bullying the next day at school. So now he doesn't get suspended. Now he don't get sent to alternative, schooling for kids that are problematic, their attitude. You never know what these small little investments that you can do in someone can do to shape their lives. And even my mother, on any given day, my mother, bless her soul, on any given Saturday, it was a stretch where me and my friends were literally playing like 9-on-9 pickup football every Saturday, and all 20 of us would meet at my mom's house. We lived in the project, so we ain't talking about no mansion up in up in Ardmore or nothing like that. We talking about PHA housing, 20 dudes jammed in there. My dad used to be tight about it, but my mom would always say, "I would rather them be here than be somewhere else. I'd rather them be here than be out in the streets. I would rather them be here in my house than be anywhere else." And at the time, I'm just like, "Come on, Dad, man, I just want to play football." But now looking back, it's like, "No, Mom, you knew something. You saw something." Like, not saying that all of us was bad, all of us were knuckleheads or whatever the case may be, but you saw something in all the little boys, and you saw potential for things to go left, and you wanted to be involved in keeping them on the right path. My mom's funeral last year, damn near all of them was there. When they called for pallbearers, cats was fighting to get to the pallbearer line because everybody wanted to be a role in it, because everybody either called my mom auntie, mom, or whatever. And it's like, you see that pour. So when you was talking about how your mom poured that into you, like I think we connect on that as well, where it's like, it's your mom, and you see that love that your mom has for the hood. My mom would buy big things of popsicles and freeze pops and stand out back and hand them to the little neighborhood boys. Like all these beautiful things. And you, in a moment, you're thinking like, we don't have much. You're giving from what we don't have. Like I'm struggling. I mean, sometimes to find a snack, but you handing out snacks to this, little boy. Like, what are you doing? But then you become an adult and you get it. Like, she saw something, and that's part of the healing, right? That's part of the healing. Once you start to get over some of those traumatic experiences, and you realize, man, it wasn't about what we was going to eat. She knew we was going to eat. I mean, she knew she was going to find some way to feed her kids. We might not have had as many popsicles as we wanted, but she was going to find some way to feed us. I mean, it was about the other little boy whose mom might have been on drugs, who might have been in the house with domestic violence, who might have been, smoking, slinging at 12, 13, trying to keep them on the right track. So that's dope, man. I'm so glad to hear you say this, man. This is encouraging me as you talk, brother.
I mean, we have a lot of parallels.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom was the same way. And my grandmother, like, kids out it, but my grandmother wouldn't turn away anybody that needed to play. And my mother was, neighborhood mom, Aunt Bev, and like you said, it was the same thing. And I think what it is too, man, is when you have a caring heart, you'll find a way. It's like the old proverb from the Bible. I don't know what particular book it was in, where he talked about how Jesus made the bread and wine,
Mm-hmm.
and was able to feed the whole village. And that's, I think, a lot of our mothers had that in them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that they've had, and that is one of the good things about, especially from that generation. You know, mothers knew that they had to care for children that were not their own. And if you're in the house, you're not out here in these streets. They know what's out here in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
They know. They hear the stories faster than you. And so when we're younger and we're talking about things, there's an African proverb that an elder can see further sitting down, you can stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that too, because they were our elders too. So I think a lot of that plays into it. But just the those were times where people were a lot more selfless. People cared about like this thing we call the village. People cared about the village. So a haircut, a change a man's day. Now imagine what it's like when a child comes into class with a fresh cut.
Mm-hmm.
Confidence is out the roof. Popsicle. And they're getting our snacks, but you know what? That snack is showing them that there's some people in this world that actually can show them some love. It ain't all hard out here like the coldness of the streets. And those factors matter. I mean, we can go back, 25 years ago to where you have block parties. Nobody cared about who ate off of whose grill. Nowadays, people giving out tickets.
Right.
Can't even have a block party nowadays. It's not even a block party. People go outside, but the block ain't partying. People have their own separate little gatherings. But and I miss the village. I miss the community. Man, we walk all over the place. I used to walk from where I'm at, Erie Ave. I used to walk to my grandmother's house where my father stayed up in Germantown. We used to walk up the Brickyard. We would walk down from Erie Ave to Sesquiu. And you can go anywhere you wanted to. There was a time when you could walk anywhere you wanted to, and people would speak to you. They would say hi. And those are times we don't live in these days. The simple courtesy. There's a lot of people dealing with the I don't know what personality disorders or what. Failure to communicate. I don't know what it is, but it's not here right now. And listen, you can't have a community when you lose touch like that. And people like your mom, my mom, they were glue. Mm. They were foundational. We live in a matrifocal society in Black America. The families run through the wind. That's something that nobody can deny, and that's why there was always a big mama in every story. You know what I'm saying? Grandpa might have paid the mortgage, but it was grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Where y'all going? We going to grandma's. You know what I'm saying? So but we've lost that over the last few generations. And the another African proverb, they say it takes a village to raise a child. And the second part of that proverb that nobody talks about is, and if the child doesn't feel love from the village, the child will burn down the village to feel its heat. And what we see right now is a lot of children not feeling love, so they're burning the village to feel its heat. And that's an epidemic right now that stronger than COVID, I believe. I don't know if we're allowed to say that anymore, but it's stronger than the pandemic. So it's deep though. So we have some work, but I think it starts at home. Right. It starts in the community. I used to think that you need to join a movement, and I was a part of some. I was a part of liberation struggles. I was a part of those movements. I had some shaky stuff happen to me. COINTELPRO wise, that it makes you really question a lot of things you're dealing with. But when I got out of those programs, I left all that alone. Like recently, I left it alone. I realized, man, those are pretty much social clubs for a bunch of misfits that need to figure life out. Mm-hmm. If you want to work in the community, if you want to build a strong community, build strong Black families.
Mm.
Teach your children to, what honor means and integrity means. Teach your daughters, what vitality means. Well, not vitality. There's a couple other words that I want to add, but basically, teach them grace. Teach your children um, manners, but also teach them respect. Teach them what responsibility is, and have them, honor their neighbors in the same way you want your neighbors to honor you. That's even in the Lord's Prayer. And I know a lot of people he's doing a lot of referencing, Christian references. I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian. But there are a lot of good virtues that you can learn from reading the Bible, reading the Quran, reading a lot of the holy books and scriptures, because well, they all take you to that connection to where you link up with the Most High.
Right.
And my life didn't get good until I put God back in my life, and that's just real. You know what I'm saying? And I think that God is so gangster that so many people are afraid to say, "Who you with?" I'm with God. Who you with? Oh man, you ain't on demon time, nah, man. You just can't stand like God. They got cool. And I think that we run away from it. And the only time we talk about it is if, this is a popular part of culture, And I think that when you put God first and work under the direct understanding that you have to be obedient to God. Keep in mind, I never said you should fear God, but you should be obedient to God and have a relationship with God. Whatever your relationship is what it is. I think that changes your perspective on life. It changes your perspective on dealing with people. You give people grace, but you also harden yourself against being a fool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's something that's important that gets left out of a lot of this conversation.
And I think that what you're saying is absolutely correct. I think that when I think about the work that we're all called to do is so much greater than whatever our 9 to 5 might be, whatever our 2 to 10, whatever our salary position is. The work that we got to do is so much greater than that. I think that your 9 to 5 should fund what your passion is. That's all it's for, to me. And what we got to do is we got to give back to the community. We got to reach back and help the next person up. And we should want to see the people who come after us shoot higher than us, because that means that you're doing something right. But we're at a point as a community where we're so much prisoners to social media perception, social media clicks, things like. I'm literally just having a conversation with somebody the other day who's like, "Oh, I'm receiving baby clothes from someone. Like, it has a new baby, they're getting baby clothes. But every time she sees me and my child has on the clothes, she says something like, oh, like I gave you that, and that makes me feel so bad. So I'm not going to put the clothes on her when I'm around the person who gave it." I'm like, why? Like, I'm like, someone's blessing you. Like, they're not posting about it online or nothing like that. I was like, they're probably saying it in a way to compliment their own sense of style or fashion. Like, hey, I picked out something that's good enough that you put it on your child too, not to make you feel bad. But we get so caught up in the perception of what we think this person thinks, or what we think this person is seeing, or how many people are going to like that, or how many people are going to respond to that, or I didn't get enough shares. Like, I knew a young lady at one point. She said if she posted something and it didn't get 5 likes within the first 10 minutes, she would take it down. Why? For what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're so prisoners to these things, and like in social media, everything becomes a joke. Literally everything becomes a joke. And I'm all for laughing. I think laughing is a huge medicine. I'm a really goofy guy myself. Outside of like this joint, I joke a lot. But everything like ain't funny to me, right? Like, everything can't become a joke. Like, niggas is really, excuse my language, but like, cats is really out here hurting. Cats are really out here hungry. Cats are really out here dying, starving, angry, depression, suicidal. It's not funny. So it's up to us to take it serious and let people know, like, yo, like, what you just did could have pushed them over the edge. What you just did could have been the thing that made them pull the trigger. What you just did could have knocked them off the ladder that they were climbing up. you know how many fires we unintentionally doused by sharing our opinions sometimes, our negative opinions out loud on these platforms? You know how long it took my brother to become a thing because I was so afraid of what someone might think about me talking about it. You know, I had an episode that I did about men who have been victims of domestic violence. I wanted to do that from like the moment I started this show. But I was so afraid that somebody was going to see it and perceive me to be a weak man because I was in a situation like that. And it's like, no, that could be something that heals another brother. That could be something that gets another brother out the situation. That could be something that eye opens a woman who didn't think what she was doing was domestic violence. Actually, after I did that episode, a young lady texted me and said, "Hey, I never thought about it, but that's what I've been doing to the man I'm with does kind of qualify as domestic violence." After I watched your episode, like our goal out here is to heal people, right? It's to get the next generation higher. Like you got wisdom and you ain't giving it to nobody. What you doing? You know what I mean? Like what you doing? What's the old? I don't know if it's an old African proverb, but it might be an old hood proverb. I've never seen a hearse pulling a U-Haul truck. Like all these possessions that we got, all this fancy Jordans, fancy clothes, fancy drip, all that stuff ain't going with you in the grave. I just buried my mother last year. We had to buy her outfit. Everything that she had in her house in her closet, none of it. Literally, we had to buy the outfit that we put on in the casket. Like literally, so like nothing that you had, none of this TV behind me, the little family thing up there, this streaming service, none of this stuff is going with me in the afterlife. You know what will be here after I leave? The impact that I made, the lives that I touched, the person who heard some of my wisdom, who saw my journey, who saw my story, and used that to kind of better themselves or lift themselves up. And that's what I think we're called to do more of, man. Um, for the respect of time, you want to jump into the word association, brother?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that. And listen, man. Prior to that, just real quick, it's really important that people understand that the times we're in right now, humble,
Mm,
humility need to be expected. This dopamine rush you get from the social currency of social media is doing a lot of harm. A lot of people need to really unplug because it's like a drug, and
mm,
the addiction to it is going to drive us to a place where all the fronting and things of that nature, we don't really live like that. I see these same people in the street. I bump
mm,
into them. They ain't living the high life that they perpetuate on social media. I've never perpetuated a high life because I don't live that life. I struggle like everybody else, and I think it's okay if you understand that we're in the world, the way the world operates, especially where we're going. Oh, we better understand about building and working with each other instead of the standoffishness that we have on social
mm. So that's real. So for this word association, the first one I'm gonna toss out here to you. Let's talk about money.
media. Okay. Um, Money is a tool. Money is a tool, an object that you utilize to barter, um, resources and opportunities. Money is, I like to allot money with time.
Mm,
You don't make money to get rich. You make money to buy time.
mm,
You buy your free time. So the more money you make, the less you work. The less you work, the more your day you have to yourself. The more opportunities you can create with other people. If you have money, you can buy land. You can utilize land to feed your people. You can utilize land to build upon foundational institutions. So money is an object. It's an objective. Money is never the goal. Money is the resource that we utilize to obtain those goals.
mm. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, let's go with real man. And I preface this with initially this was real N word, but I changed it for the sake of keeping it. I changed it to real man. So I've been prefacing that. Like initially when I wrote it, it was supposed to be real N word, but real man.
Um, and this is a harder one. This is a little more complicated because a lot of people believe that they're experts on what real men are,
Mm,
and so a lot of it's relative, but there's some fundamental things about a real man. A real man is responsible. A real man carries himself with integrity and honor. A real man, you know, fundamentally operates out of the truth, not his truth, but the truth. A real man can be accountable for when things go wrong. You know, a real man can be a leader. So I look at that as the same way we look at the word jegna, which is what we replace mentor with when we speak to it from an African-centered perspective. And a jegna is a man, is a person, but it's a man, it's a person that carries himself with a certain type of esteem, certain type of respect, that is respected by members of the community, that's seen as a positive influence, and that's seen as somebody who people can look up to. So I assert those same qualities with manhood, and I put a lot of those things in those categories: honor, integrity, things of that nature, because that encapsulates the qualities I think that a real man's supposed to have.
I love that. I love that response. I think you'll have a lot to say about this one too. Let's go with the streets. I couldn't let you off with this one. I knew I had to give you this one, brother.
Well, I mean, point and blank, the streets are cold, um, especially our perception of the street. Um, the streets have streets have never yielded positive results. Well, let me speak that. Let me take that back, because I think we can utilize the streets, but the way we have utilized the streets, it has not yielded positive results for our community or for our people. We have a lot of blood on those streets, and the streets doesn't even clean. The streets don't clean the blood up. The streets don't do anything to stop the bloodshed from going. But we can mobilize on the street. We can uh, gather with one another. We can commune on the street, and we can change the outcomes of the people that we engage on the street.
Mm.
So, and you have to be on the street to engage those who are in the streets. And it takes a lot of courage, sometimes personal sacrifice. Um, and just because I'm saying you have to have courage doesn't mean you're not afraid to take those steps. But you have to be willing to be amongst all the different elements in the street, be aware of your surroundings in the streets, but also not be afraid to walk those and pound those streets, because it's going to help us get from one destination to another. Left unabated, the streets will engulf your entire family. They'll engulf your entire home, and there'll be nothing left but cold wind and urban tumbleweed, trash blowing down the street in the middle of the night.
I love that response, man. That's professor before his name for a reason there, guys. He teaching. And then last one. This is one of my favorite ones. Home.
Home is where the heart is. Home is your sanctuary. Um, it's not just a physical space though. Home is got me thinking. I got to put my thinking cap on this. Home is it's sacred. Um, it's a place that it's a place where you first and foremost. It's a place it's your peace. A lot of people say that they go through life looking to be happy, and I always challenge that. I say I don't think you're going to go through life looking for happiness, because that's internal. I said what most people go through life looking for is peace, because through peace you can be happy. Happiness can change just like that. You get some bad news, a cloud start coming out on a sunny day, and next thing you know, nobody's happy. But if you have inner peace, and you've been able to come to grips with your peace, and you know that you have to protect your peace, then that becomes home, and then you can embody that within your home. There's certain spiritual qualities to how you position your furniture. They call it feng shui. There's certain qualities in terms of like the energy you allow into your home. What you have in your home as the storm comes, right? Because you have to be able. The storm is coming. There's no way in life you're going to avoid the storm. There's no climate on the planet you can go to and avoid the storm. The storm is coming. How you fortify your house against the storm, fortify your home, against the storm, it metaphorically and physically, is how you'll be able to function thereafter. So if you've done a poor job at building your home, then when the wind blows, your home will fall down. If you've done a good enough job to prepare for a rainy day, then when it rains, it won't leak inside your home. And that is, like I said, metaphorically and literally. So the metaphorical part about that is, when you yourself are at home and at peace with yourself, that you are in a place where I'm going to show you compassion, but I'm not a sucker over here. And you don't get to invade my home. We're not Red Riding Hood. You know what I'm saying? The wolf doesn't get to come into the front door and devour the people that live inside the home. It's my job to be the shepherd of my home. And that's where, what I get from the word home.
That's an amazing response. And then my last question before we sign off here is, you got an audience of every man on the planet. Every man is in the professor's classroom. We all speak the same language. We all understand what you're saying. You leave them with one lesson that you would want every man on the planet to hear from your perspective.
Know your worth. Know your worth, brother. And I can't have this message for all men. This is a message for black men. Other men may be able to gain something from it, but our experience, especially the Black American man experience, is a totally different experience. For generations, for centuries, we've been buck broken, we've been burnt, we've been lynched, we've been illegally accosted, arrested. Laws, policies have been put in place to make sure that we didn't have a foot to stand on. We fought wars, every war for this country, and still came home to this country to be treated and worse than dogs. Black man, honor yourself. Understand, a lesser man couldn't stand where you stand. So, understand your worth and your value. Sure, we have monuments, we have things of that nature that go back a millennia, but the building that we've been doing internally will be foundational for the monuments and institutions that we build for the future.
I love that. And thank you, man. I feel lighter after this conversation. I feel like I want to go find somebody and give them all the money in my bank account after talking to you.
We don't want to do that.
And move somebody into my apartment and feed them and everything like that, man. And I'm sure anybody who listens to this is probably feeling the same way, man. It's hard to walk away from a conversation this dope and this challenging, man. I love people who not only are doing dope things, but they challenge you to follow in their footsteps. I'm going to do better. And one of my past guests said, try to be 0.65% better each day, because at the end of the year, you'll be 100% better. So, you know what I mean?
That's dope. I like that, man.
So thanks for your time, brother, man. I appreciate you for coming on. Lastly, let the people know where they can find you.
Hey, my brother Joseph Ward has a channel, On the Shoulders of Giants, and we do a reaction show that is published every Friday. And it's in regards to historical issues and sometimes hot button topics within the community that speaks to the improvement of our community. And as well as you can go to Bet Life Station. He got the film right there, the Independence Day Project. I still got it. You definitely can find that film. And actually, I have digital copies now because I realize not everybody has a DVD, or they don't even have the disk drives on their laptops anymore. So, and you can just find me on Facebook at Professor Carl Tone Jones, and I'll be willing to this $15 charge now, $15 charge, because brother got to eat. But I think it's a very reasonable price. I'm not trying to break anybody's bank. And one of the things that you can also catch me on my weekly talk show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fed Life Station, office hours, FetLife Station, FetLifeStation.com, and we get into the conversations in regards to this particular stage in terms of the evolution of the Black community. Right now, we're focused on improving, we're empowering the men, and we're focused on improving the understanding or the conversation with our women. So there are some things that, you know, when you listen to them and you hear them, it you know, if you give it a second, you'll understand, you know, the method to the madness. Um, but so that's pretty much all I'm doing, brother, right now. I miss being in the classroom because I was the professor at Hartford College for 11 years. Um, I actually wrote some of the curriculum for a lot of the classes, and every class I taught was from the African Centered lens. So you got history, whether or not the class said history on the front door.
Right.
You got a history lesson, you know what I'm saying, in that classroom, and it was unapologetic, you know. Several people tried to get me fired throughout the years. They said, he's too black, he's too strong. Surprisingly, the majority of them were black students. So, you know, this truth is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable, but we have to, as men, we have to have uncomfortable conversations and be able to walk away from it with saying, okay, you know, I may agree, I may not disagree, but I don't hate you for having your opinion. I don't hate you for where your opinion took you, where your research took you. And we have to learn to start showing each other grace. You know, I saw a brother in Home Depot today, and, you know, I just happened to be on the phone, so I turned around after I got the phone, and the brother looked at me with such a hateful disdain in his. And I don't approach it because I don't know where that man came from. I don't know what kind of day he was having or where he's at in his evolution. But the fact that we consistently have such a harsh response for one another, but we soften it up when we deal with others, is troublesome to me. And I think we need to start addressing those things. So I make it my business to look everybody. I give eye contact everywhere I go. First of all, I don't know what you might be up to. But second of all, I want to engage a brother from a perspective of, okay, you can let your guard down a little bit. Ain't no problems over here. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hopefully we can learn to start building with one another and see each other as brothers. You know, can I say one more thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've tried this assignment with middle school students, high school students, and college students on a Friday. I always catch students on a Friday. I said, do me a favor. And they did it for boys and girls. I said, I want you to go home this weekend, and instead of saying the word nigga or the N word or the B word, say brother and sister instead. And I would have, why we gotta do all that? I said, just try for the weekend. You ain't gotta do it forever, try for the weekend. And the response I would get on Monday was always the same. The students couldn't wait to see me. Man, Mr. Jones, I can't stand. What do you mean? Why you got us talking like that? I said, what? Because I was mad at my brother, and I was like, brother, I'm gonna kill you. And I couldn't say it the way I wanted to because it didn't have the same energy. And then I was mad at my girl, but I was like, sister, you get on my nerves. But I didn't come out the way I wanted it to because I wanted to say this, but when I said brother or sister, I couldn't say it the same. And I said that's because you added a human quality to somebody. You call each other those names. You dehumanize us, and it makes it easier to accept the fact that we come from, a people that have been lynched. We have been strange fruit and trees based off those names. Black women have been hung on trees, and pregnant black women have been hung and have their stomachs slashed open so that when the baby falls out, the fetus falls out, all those who hung her while she's still alive, consciously watching them stump her unborn fetus to death. We come from, and those words make it possible because the power of words is spellbinding. But when you have those words and we speak to each other in those terms, especially when we do it out of anger, it makes it easier for us to violate each other and not see each other with the same type of respect. No other community has legitimized the derogatory term that's used to call them. They have not legitimized that for the masses to use. But I've had black students tell me that they go to white parties and the N-word is all over the party and they're the only black people in the room. See, we have got to change that from within. And that's just one example. I'm not trying to preach here, But that's just one example of how we take our power back.
I love it. I love you see that clip behind me. You see this clip behind me, brother?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
That's the professor talking to Cornell West. Just so y'all know, I wasn't lying when I said we did that. But no, Carl, this was excellent. I love that exercise. I love taking that N word or that B word out and saying brother and sister, man. It changes the venom behind it and it changes the perspective. This is great, man. I can't wait to rewatch this. I can't wait to release it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your opinion. Carl, I love you, my brother.
Love you more, brother, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thanks for coming on the show, man. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for viewing. Tune in next time for the next episode. I'm not even sure who my next guest is right now, but we got a few more men coming on. A lot more great conversation, great healing, great things going on in this show. The My Brother Show. Maurice Fresh signing off.